The first season for New World is right around the corner, and I'm going to show you the first things you want to be doing when you get into the game. This will either make you some gold or save you some time. So let's jump in. So the first thing that I want to talk about are flame cores, these little things here. Now they're not actually bound to the player. The reason mine currently show that I am bound is because that I got them before they made the change. You are going to be able to buy and sell these, and that's going to be very important. But these flame cores are going to be very interesting at the start of this patch. There's going to be a lot of demand for them, and the uses we'll talk about in a moment. First I'll show you where to get them. So there's three main areas that I have found. The first and foremost, actually I think this is the best because you can solo it, is right here in Eden Grove. If you come down here to this point here, the Profane Shrine, then there is this Camp Arcadia Keep. Right here there are several chests. I'll play some footage of me actually while I'm there, and there's a couple of named bosses. One of which you do for the quest, which is the Faceless. That's the guy up at the very end basically, and the other one is called Olga. Now the reason I mention that is that there's sort of two main ways to farm these flame cores. One of them is that they come from the chest, as I mentioned. They have a 50% chance drop rate. That sounds high, but like when I was collecting these, it does not feel like 50%. And then you can farm the mobs. Now every mob has a 5% chance of dropping, but the named bosses, well, they have a high chance of dropping the baggies. I think it works like that. I don't really know how all the odds in New World actually work, but basically I would just farm the main bosses as well as killing everything in between if you're going to try and farm and kill them, right? You can do the chests. They reset hourly because they're just normal chests. Once you've done with this area, there is another area where there are 3 chests and a couple of like enemies to kill, but not very many. And you'll go to these parts as part of the quest, by the way, so they're not like a hidden away secrets or anything like that. But the next place is here right near the Genesis Shrine. You can come to this little camp here, the Crystal Cavern. In there's 3 chests, I think, and a boss at the end. I'm not sure this is necessarily worth it just because of the like how out the way it sort of is. It looks like a short distance, but you got to walk all the way up. If you want to do it, do it. And then the third area is where I currently am actually, and it's this area here, the Atlas Foundry. Now keep in mind, this is actually an elite area and there are some elite chests. You can try and stealth around and get some chests. I have done that. That is actually possible. But personally, I think chest runs will probably just start including this because of these flame cores being required. This being an elite area, yeah, the chest runs are going to start including this. The other 2 you can do solo. This you're going to want a team mostly. Now there is another way of getting flame cores which is going to be very important, and that is from the season pass. In the season pass, in the free rank at the minute, at level 15 you get 5, at level 18 you get 10. You get some further ones at like 44 and maybe more along the lines, right? But just be aware, the season pass may actually be a decent way of getting them. Now what are they actually used for? So they are used for the human trophy. Yes, the human trophy is a thing, and that is going to be found in a couple of ways. The basic level, you don't need any mats, I think you can just craft it. But then for the medium one and then the higher level one, you do need mat. Now I've actually farmed one of the things. I actually got a human digit, which is for the one for the purple one, the middle one. This just drops from Varangians. I don't think you can necessarily farm it other than killing Varangians, so this will probably just come naturally. There'll be some on the trading post. You can go ahead and farm a lot of Varangians to try and get some flame cores if you like. But yeah, this one's going to be sort of quite rare at first. So I got this in one of my early kills. I wish I did that in live because I think this is going to be worth quite a bit of gold as well. And then there is the bigger one, which is the human idol. Now again, you get shards for this, so 100 shards will transfer into a actual human idol. Unfortunately the shards are bop, so you either farm 100 or they're worthless basically. Now where do you farm them from? But this boss, there's actually 2 areas. So I'm over here, there's one basically on the bolt that seems to have a blunderbuss. This one I think is relatively hard to solo because he has ranged, and if you're trying to play like melee or non-ranged or anything like that, then you're going to struggle. And then there's one basically over here on this island just in the middle of some crocodiles. He has like a great sword. Be aware that he does have this ability that will drain your stamina, which is quite annoying. So does Olga at the other place, which is, if you're not ready for it, can be quite painful. I have managed to kill them like at least once each, and I just got the idol shards. I didn't get the actual idol, right? But to upgrade them, you then need flame cores, and I'll show you that in a moment actually. So just to prove it here, that the human idol shards, you have 100 of them, you can then get the human idol. That's not bop, so if you actually do kill it 100 times and you get this, you could sell it. Those mobs are going to be farmed to hell and back. I think a lot of people are going to be farming that. So just to show, for the human trophies, you need 10 for the minor trophy, and for the basic trophy you need 50, right? And some people are going to want 3 of these, so flame cores are going to be very much high in demand. You're going to want human trophies because of the new expedition, by the way, the Empyrean Forge. I don't know if I didn't really mention that, but it's worth noting. And just quickly to show you where the Empyrean Forge, it is in Great Cleave, and there is a new shrine which is going to be here, but you basically, the first time around, you're going to want to come to Cleave's Point and just run a little bit east and you'll get there, right? That's a Varangian dungeon. That's going to be why people want Human Ward initially. So that's one use of Flame Cores, but there's actually another which may or may not be important. And I'm actually going to travel to right near the Empyrean Forge itself. So you can come to the Empyrean Forge, and by the way, I'm pretty sure that the chests in there will also count to the Flame Core drop rate as well. So if you want to just farm that on repeat, you know, go ahead. But when you're here, there is something outside called the Flame Core Forge, and you basically require 15, and it's sort of like a gypsum cast, if that makes sense, but this one is the unstable cast. And what's important is in this you're going to get Human Ward and Human Bane stuff. So let me hit craft right now and we'll see what we actually get in this one. I'm going to craft it and then let's open it up, okay? So right at the top here, the unstable cast, let's open it up. I believe you get some Umbral shards, you don't get a roll, but in this case I'm getting a shield which does have Human Ward on it. Now unless I see more Flame Cores, I don't necessarily think people will use this. I think people will probably just try and craft the Human Ward stuff, but maybe the hardcore people day one will try and use it like this. I'm not 100% sure. I just see the price of Flame Cores being very high day 1 and 2. Then it'll probably simmer down, but maybe I'm wrong, maybe the prediction's going to be off. So that's it for trophies and Flame Cores. They're going to be very valuable, I think, at the very start of this patch. Now let's talk about saving you some time. And we're going to talk about the Season Pass. So let me show you the Season Pass here, really. There's two main ways of leveling this up. The passive ways I don't think are very strong. I tried Aptitude, but then they nerfed Aptitude. I tried all different kinds of stuff to see if I could passively level it. Like, I did a lot of testing. I know I'm only level 15, but I did a lot of testing on my streams, and I don't see a way of cheesing it. Fivehead might have a way, but, you know, I don't know it. But what I do see is a way of saving yourself some time. The best ways are going to be the journey and the activity card, right? So the journey is pretty easy. You're just going to go ahead and complete what it says on here, and each time you're going to, like, click it and claim it. You have to click it to claim it, but you probably shouldn't click it, right? You should wait. And there's something you want first, and that is you probably want a double XP token or boost or whatever you want to call it. Now, if you're doing the free one, you're pretty much going to have to get to level 18 if you literally don't want to buy a double booster, which makes sense, right? You know, if money's tight or whatever and you don't want to pay for it, fine. Get to level 18 and then save everything. But I would get to level 18 using the activity card rather than the journey. I wouldn't click anything on the journey. However, if you're buying the premium one, just keep in mind that as soon as you buy the premium one, you will get a XP booster just from the first chest. So let's show you how crazy this can be, right? So we just did the Flame Core challenge here, which is 1,750, which double of that is 3,500, right? Let's round up here and say I'm on 1,400. I expect to go to about 1,750 if I use the double XP. So let's test that. By the way, to get to the boosters and stuff like that, obviously you need to buy them in the store, but once you've bought them, you come down here and you click here, these boosters, and then you'll find whatever you've got. On the PTR, I think they're just giving you a permanent one, so you can just sort of test this out whenever you like, right? Obviously, I don't know how much these are going to cost, but as I said, you get one for free on the reward track. And I'm going to use the Season XP booster. It lasts 2 hours. That's all activated. Then we'll go back into the Season Pass. We will go back onto the journey and we'll find the one that I am on. And you'll see here, I'm going to click it. And you can see, obviously I've gone into the next level, but you can see that it doubled that up. And just to prove that it doubled it up, I was being a bit of an idiot there. I didn't factor in that it was going to go over. But let's just click one of these, which will actually take me to I'll get 250 XP, which will become 400. Now, one thing you want to do when you do this is make lines, but we'll talk about this in a minute. Let's just double check and prove that this thing is happening here where you get double XP. So you can see here that I did get 500 XP, right? Makes sense. So all I'm saying here is with the double XP booster, that's when you want to hand everything in. If you're really trying to go quickly, you want to sort of save everything and use your double booster when it's pertinent, right? The passive double XP, pretty crap. There's no real point like really using it. It's when you hand stuff in that you actually want to do it. Now let's jump back to the activity card, because the journey is sort of like a one and done. I think you might get like 20-ish levels, I think Fivehead was saying, if you complete that all. But for the activity card, it's repeatable, right? And what you want to make sure you do is you do a line. Now I may have actually done this in a way where I can't do a line, but you can see here where each one gives you 250 XP, a line gives you 400, and if you complete the entire card you get 300. Now I personally wouldn't bother about the 300, I'd just concentrate on completing lines. So I'm actually going to go down here so that I can complete it rather than do 2 of these. So let me just hit this, and then finally hit that one. and you can see I complete a line, I get my 400 XP, which actually is 800 XP because I've got the double reward. So you can see that it's all going to add up pretty damn quickly, right? And what I'm going to do now is just sort of hand in some where maybe I can possibly make a line in the future. So let me hand that in, hand this in, and then let's have a look at this one here, right? This act. As you can see here, it says complete town board project missions. Let's say for some reason I wasn't able to do that one, but I really need to complete this line, right? Let's just say that that's the case. You can re-roll the activities. It says you lose your progress, so you do lose whatever progress you've made, so keep that in mind as well. But now it says skin 10 tier 5 animals, right? That might be easier or not easier for you. So you go ahead and do that and you just keep going, right? If you finish the whole card, you get 300 extra XP. So it's worth doing, right? Rather than just keep like finishing it early. But if I do finish it early, I do get my bonus XP for whatever I collected, right? So it's up to you, whatever you think's best. Personally, I think just doing this is going to be the main form of leveling it up quickly. But the key thing is really this double XP booster, which you can see here. If I press F11, I've got 1 hour and 55 minutes of it left. And you can see it's also shown here. That will save you a lot of time. Obviously, you can just buy it, but I really don't recommend people actually buy it. I don't think it's worth. There are a couple of other little changes that I'm just going to mention quickly. The curve at which your Umbral Shards increase your gear score has slightly changed. I'm not 100% sure what it is off the top of my head, but I think they made going to 600 just cost a little bit more, because I think there was basically a very easy exploit where you could just get it to 600 and then salvage it and you'd get more Umbral Shards back. That was a little bit weird. So, you know, they're sorting it out, right? Going up from 599 to 600 now costs 60. I think that's what they modified that curve for. Now, the other change here is actually, you may or may not be aware of this, but not every gear slot is treated equally. So basically, your weapons combined are worth 45% of your gear score. So if you were completely naked and you put on your weapons, it'll be different from how much you would put on if you just had a helm. Now that's actually changing. I think all of your armor is going to contribute to 45% and your weapons are going to be 35%, and then your jewelry is going to be the rest of it, right? So it's a slight nerf. So if you see your gear score change, then it's probably because of this. I want to give one last shout out for the people who are crafting. On the live server, you have a double XP when it's your first time crafting. On the PTR here, it's actually going to be moving up to 3 times. So if you're watching this and the patch hasn't gone live, then what you might want to do is craft one of everything in a trade skill where you want to level it up. It doesn't count for aptitude, by the way, so it only counts up until level 200. And then when we hit live, when this PTR goes live, which we don't actually know when it is at the time of recording, it's just been delayed, then you're going to craft it again because it's going to reset and then it'll be 3 times the XP. That's going to be very good if you want to level up some professions. So that's it really, those 2 main things. Flame Core is going to be very, very worth it. Human Trophy, if you want to farm that, go ahead and farm it. I'm not going to bother personally. And then for the Season Pass, make sure you're going to use that double XP when you hand everything in. Just save everything and then use it when you're ready. I think 5 has said that you can actually get to level 40 doing everything, because it was normally level 20, but if you get double XP, you're going to get level 40, right? You're nearly halfway there then. And then I just threw a few little extra changes in that where you may not have noticed. If you want to see this being played when the patch goes live, make sure you follow my Twitch channel. There is a link in the description below. Otherwise, I hope you have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.